Welcome to Fortunes Hiding Down Under TV. Happy New
Welcome
Year
back.
to everyone. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome to 2024. Look, as you can see, it's just myself and Nathan tonight. We've got a weakened team, like our boys against Brighton. Kingy's a bit under the weather, and Dave's on his way back from England for a bit of an emergency situation. But I hope everyone's well and had a good New Year. Nathan, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Matt. Really good. Had a pretty well. We're nearly finished with our visitor streams from Christmas. We've got my old man still here. Last of many. I think we had about a dozen in the house, in and out over that whole Christmas period, which is always nice to see them and things like that. But now it's time for them to fuck off. And
it takes its toll, doesn't it?
It
takes its toll.
We
my mum and dad were here for a month, and then we went up to Bundaberg to see Alana's family. So it's just one thing after another, and look, great, really good time, great to see everyone. But nice to have a bit of fucking peace and quiet now.
I said to the bride, maybe about a week ago, it's like as soon as they're all fucked off, we actually need a holiday. So we're going on a cruise at the end of the month just to sort of recuperate and recover from family more than work.
Why not?
Yeah.
So look, it's been a pretty good festive period from a football perspective, hasn't it?
Yeah. All things considered.
We'll talk about the Brighton game in a minute, which probably pissed on people's bonfire a little bit, but all up, you can't complain too much. The last show that we did was last Thursday from memory, and that was before the Arsenal game, which was fucking fantastic. It was, that was a real good performance against Arsenal, and so satisfying to stick it to them, and not just win. We won convincingly. We won
well. Yeah.
So that was great, and that just sort of added to making it an even better Christmas and New Year, knowing that we'd done Spurs and then we'd done Arsenal for the second time this season. It
was great. And when I was recovering, I played golf the previous day, and I had a massive migraine. I think it must have been from heat stroke or something, so I missed the show. But I was tuning in with one eye in a dark room, and it was a good show. And then watching the game the next morning, it was really pleasing to watch. And geez, it almost ended like a fairy tale, didn't it? With Deck giving away that penalty. I would have put my house on Ben Rama scoring him, because it's the first one I think I've seen him miss in quite a while. So
they showed the graphic before he took it, and he put his last five away at least.
Yeah,
but it's probably typical of where the guy's at the moment. Confidence wise, whatever it is, that he didn't stick it away. And retrospectively, you'd say, well, we could have given it to another player, but he's never let us down before. And ultimately, it didn't really matter. I mean, it would have been nice, wouldn't it?
No, it didn't.
To rub it in, but I think him giving the penalty away was enough in itself, whether we scored it or not. It was great. It was great.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah. We've got a couple of comments coming through, so I'll try and keep up with them. Olivia says, "Hello, lads. Thanks for joining, Olivia. Hope you're well and had a good New Year." Robert Singleton, morning, guys. Sorry, I can't stop. I have a clinic appointment. Well, what the fuck? This isn't commitment. Like, reschedule your clinic appointment. Jeez. Anyway,
right. We gave you an hour's notice, mate. What more do you fucking want?
And we were only 9 minutes late. Look, thanks for joining, even if you are in a rush. Good to see you as always. Rani Bubble, happy New Year, lads, and straight back at you. Darren Higgins from Bangkok says, "Come on, you Irons."
Yeah.
Malkster, I've not seen Malkster before.
Welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, happy New Year. Do they still use the slur, "you flaming galah" out there? Well, look, I use it, but only because of Alf in home and away. But Nate, you're probably better.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it flies out when you need it to. But I think our Stuart's probably made it more famous than anybody else. I think
it doesn't get used a great deal, does it? But you do still hear it.
I prefer people are stupid cunts. So. Just in case they didn't know what a flaming galal was, most languages understand that one. So
everyone understands that, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for the question.
Yeah,
Andy Quinn, evening guys from NZ. How are you feeling at the halfway point? 37 points with 20 games played is one of the good ones. No, and look, I think I don't know about you, Nate, but there really isn't much to talk about from the Brighton game. So I was, thinking that we'd probably have a bit of a sort of check-in as to where we're at for the season so far, what we're expecting. So, look, that's a good question. What do you think, Nate?
Look, I think it's funny what you get used to, right? Like, I was having a chat with a couple of boys on Adelaide Hammers page after the Brighton game, and they're a little bit sort of disgruntled with it. And, I think we're all very bored by it all. But, one of them said to me that like Brighton had more clear-cut chances, and I was sure that they didn't. So I went back and watched the replays, and they fucking did. Like, they had so many more chances than us. And that's what I mean by it's funny what you get used to. Like, the amount of times we have our goal peppered, and we just seem to manage to get our way through it. It shows you how much is lacking down the other end of the pitch. But I guess when you sort of try to consider the overall, like if you just look at it purely on statistics, black and white, points in the bank, all that, it's been fucking good. It has been really, really good. But we've flown by the fucking skin of our ballsack a few times this year, and I think there's some paper over the cracks there. And look, Kingy put together a great little thread in our Brisbane Hammers page about just basically defending himself after getting punched in the face a few times about being Moyes out. I'm still Moyes out, but I think I'm respectful of what he's done for us, but I think it's always the way that we play. It's always going to end in tears, and I'd just love to see him like just leave with his dignity and good memories intact, rather than just a run of terrible performances and then he's sacked altogether.
Yeah, I suppose the question I'd ask, and I'll give my thoughts in a minute. If Moyes was to go now, how confident, as a percentage, would you be that whoever came in would actually take us forward and not backwards? As in terms of results.
I think that there is some good managers out there that could really do well with the squad that we have. When Moyes came back, even for the second time, he really had to graft hard to work with what he had with not much investment to get good results, and that required him to go and make our Nautovic into a striker, and he did it well, and he sort of converted Antonio as well, and now Bowen's coming into that realm. But I think we've got enough attacking prowess in our team and enough good sort of defensive players that somebody else could do a good job. So I'd be confident that we could find somebody else who's more progressive and likes to if you take the Zebri from Brighton as an example, I reckon they had more players out of their first team squad than we did. And they didn't change the way they played. They didn't try and grind out a result. They wanted the fucking result. And I think if we had someone with that mentality, I reckon we'd be just as good, if not better off in some circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And look, just going back to the question that Andy asked, and he has corrected himself. It is only 34 points, which changes my answer, because 37 points would have been great. 34 adds a whole different angle to it.
Yeah.
Look, you cannot argue with the points return. You cannot argue with where we are in the league, in the cup. in Europe. I think if there's ever 3 games that really sum up what it's like watching West Ham under David Moyes, it's the last 3 that we've watched. I thought against United, and I said it last week, it was a dire game for 70 minutes, and yet we've somehow come out winning comfortably in the end. You know, and then we go to Arsenal. I thought we were brilliant, and I thought we thoroughly deserved it. And then we play Brighton, who, as you say, you know, they're a decent team, but they had more players out than us. You know, and it was fucking awful. And we've only managed to get away with a point because of Areola, you know, which we've said earlier on in the season happened time and time again. I don't know how we didn't lose that game, to be honest. The last 10 minutes, I was thinking that they're going to score. They're going to score. You know, fortunately, Glenn Whelan wasn't on the pitch to fucking knock it in. But, you know, so we've got away with one. And yet, on paper, you look back at that festive period and you say 3 wins, a draw, no goals conceded. He looks like a fucking genius. Like he looks like, you know, the best manager in the Premier League. And the reality is, we know that that's not the case. But you know, halfway stage, you can't argue. I think we've said it time and time again. All we want is a bit more ambition, and I agree with you completely. I think with teams that we've had in the past, and with the types of teams that Moyes is used to working with. Apart from when he went to Man United and he failed miserably there, he's not the right type of manager for this team because we've got the players to do something different. But yeah, halfway stage. Look, it's better. It's better than being bottom 3, isn't it?
It is. I think what like that Brighton game shows you is just when you continually play people like Sochik week in, week out. And you don't sort of back yourself, or even like Fornals when he's out of position, and like you don't put those naturally quick players like Cornet onto the pitch, like you get dross, you get absolutely another dross. So I mean,
I said at the start of the season that I didn't want to see Cornet anywhere near the West Ham shirt again, but the way the season's gone, I can't understand why he isn't getting time on the pitch. Because Ben Rama's been shocking. Like, shockingly bad all season. You know, it's not a run of games. And you just think, well, what is the point of Cornet being there?
I reckon Ben Rama probably did more circles with the ball when he had it at his feet than he had fucking shots. He's amazing. Like to a bloke that gets played into space, right? How the fuck he manages to get 3 or 4 players around him in a hurry is beyond me. It just some of the opportunities that I think Bowen might have played him in once or twice, and he's in the box, right? He could have had a shot with his left foot. He doesn't. He sort of takes a touch. Then all of a sudden, 3 players around him, and you know the ball's been played out back out to halfway, and you go, "What the? How the fuck did that happen?"
Comment from Rani Bubble. Bowen should have took the pen, kept his scoring record going on another away goal. Look, I agree. I think he probably should have. You know, Moyes is stubborn. We know that. Ben Rama's on the pitch. He takes the penalties. He's not missed because we did go through a period of fucking everyone missing, didn't we?
Remember Bowen missed at Liverpool.
He did, and number 41 missed one and.
Well, he missed 2, didn't he? And then he gave it to Bowen, and then
fucking shit.
And then Bowen missed a few, and then all of a sudden, it's Ben Rama, and I think even it's either him or Paqueta, isn't it? So What do you think of Johnson's performance? Just out of curiosity.
I thought he was all right, to be honest. I thought he started well. I think Kingy made a comment in our chat early on that. He was getting forward and getting back well. I thought it was his best game for us for a while. So, you know, there's always been a bit of promise there with him. But, his defending's always been a little bit suspect. And the question is, do you keep him? Do you look to move him on? I don't know. The way the squad is at the moment, you probably say keep him in.
You would, but I'm not sure we're going to have much choice by the end of the season.
No.
He's refusing to sign a contract, but I thought he played quite well. He got a little bit tired towards the end of the game, but what he did do, I thought was pretty good.
And look, as turgid as it was watching it, there was some decent performances. The Mexican was quality. Areola was quality. So it wasn't all doom and gloom.
No. It just showed how much we've relied on some of that play. Like you could just see, it's a regular system, but then you've got Ben Rama or Fornals getting on the ball when normally it should be fucking Kudus or Paqueta. Those guys just make shit happen, and that's why I think another manager could easily do what Moyes is doing with this, but continue to play higher up the pitch to just be more apt teams. So.
There's a comment here from Kingy's tuk-tuk driver. Evening, Nick and Lang. Thanks for joining. The good, the bad, and the ugly sums up our last two games. Pretty much what we've just discussed. Completely agree. Mark Jarvis says, sorry, lads, signed in on my daughter Olivia's account. Hello from Mark. Great to meet you.
Make sure she's fucking liked and subscribed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't have any freeloaders in here.
No, look, that's all right. We thought we gained a new viewer there, but glad you're still with us, Mark. And, lovely to meet you as well.
Yeah.
And here's a comment from our very own dying host, Mr. King. He says, "Hello from the sofa, dying of death. Hope everyone had a great New Year's and health to everyone. Even Moyes." See, you are a big softy, King. We'll pass your message on to Mr. Moyes and everyone else watching.
He'll love that.
So here's a question from Andrew Quinn. If Newcastle ditch Howe, would we not dip in for him? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I think Eddie Howe's too good a manager. They've had a rough time with injuries, and they actually managed when they had all the players out. They managed to keep it together, but it's obviously had a bit of a toll. Yeah. Look, I rate Howe. I'd have him in a heartbeat.
I would.
What do you think, Dave?
No, I'd have him as well. But I know exactly what you're saying. I hope they stick with him. But I think they've got Man City and Arsenal in their next two games as well. But they've managed to nick a couple of results, but they've been battered around with injury, haven't they?
Yeah. No, I've always liked Howe. I think he's the kind of guy that would come in and sort of change the whole culture of the club, and you'd be looking at a 3 or 4 year project with him.
Yeah. He's kind of wasted up there, isn't he?
He is. Bunch of cavemen. Don't get me started on them lot. So Olivia, who we now know is Mark, thought Alvarez was immense against Brighton, seemed to be everywhere, closed off a lot of their attacks. He's becoming a very valuable asset. He is. He's a lot better than I ever thought he was going to be, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a couple of times there he was deep in the box and he looked like he just had to really go and clear the ball, and he just waited for them to make their move and then turned him inside out and gone out the other way. It was really good to watch, and even he made a couple of runs forward into the box. I think it was in the first minute and nearly got a pen as well. So I've seen them given. I've seen them waved away. It would have been a fucking great start, wouldn't it, if we actually picked that one up? So.
But yeah, he's good, and I know those games. I can't remember exactly what games they were, but the ones that he was out for, we certainly missed him. All right, a couple more comments, and then so there's one from Rani. If you own a football club and your manager takes you from relegation threatened to potentially regular top 6 or 7, as an owner, would you think he was successful?
Yeah,
100%.
He's just put a caveat in there at the bottom on his next comment too, and then over a 4-year period.
In a 4-year period.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody, even his most ardent anti-supporters, would say that he hasn't been successful for West Ham. You can't argue with that. You know, he's got a trophy in the cabinet. If we finish in the top 7 this season, then he's had 3 top 7 finishes in 4 years. You can't argue that is success. I think the issue is it comes down to because West Ham fans are a quirky bunch, right? We are highly demanding, but at the same time we don't expect a lot. We want success, but not at any cost. We want to win, but we want to see us play well, and if that means getting beat, then you know it's everything's back to front supporting West Ham. And I think that's why, you know, a lot of pundits, a lot of other club supporters just don't understand why West Ham fans are disillusioned, you know, about the way that we're playing football at the moment. Yeah. So, yeah, you can't argue that he's not been successful. You know, I suppose you'd liken it to, you know, you get a quick hand job in the toilet and you reach your orgasm. Job done, but was it satisfying along the way?
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
You're not going back to look at the same content, are you?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hope that clears that up for you, Arnie. Like a wank in the toilet. Gary and Oz. Hello, all. Gary Ola was the pinball wizard. Could have been 5-0. Yeah. I was absolutely shitting it those last 10 minutes. I thought they were going to score every time they went forward. Yeah.
And you'd probably think if they had some of their better, like, you know, frontline players on the pitch, they would have given Areola a better run for his money. Like, some of those shots were hit straight at him. Like, it wasn't like he was pulling off blinding saves. They were quick reactionary saves that you kind of expect him to make with the level he's at. But yeah, like he was our best player again on the park, but probably more so because he was called into action far too often.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you want to read this one, Nate?
Yeah. This is from Kingy again. The owners are businessmen, and of course they would be happy to line their pockets, but success is there to be built on, and that's why the owners should show ambition and go for a higher graded manager. Yeah, that's exactly what I think should happen. And like you say, it is very, very difficult to argue with those the finishes and the finances that brings by playing in European competitions and cup competitions and all that sort of shit. But, you know, I think a lot of those comments come from people that don't watch West Ham week in, week out. And they just say, oh, yeah, there you go, another 1-0. They don't see the stress and heartache and frustration and then a late Souček header from out of nowhere that gets us the 3 points, you know. And look, I think if we'd had some fucking better managers, they would have sat down and had a decent chat with Moyes after the Conference League and just gone, thanks for coming, mate. Why don't you retire and go out on a high?
You know, I read a comment on, I think it was on Facebook, on one of the West Ham groups the other day, from somebody who obviously didn't like Moyes. And he was actually having a right go at him for the fact that we were only 6th in the league.
Right.
And his argument was basically that, you know, we're only doing what we're doing now because Antonio's injured. If he wasn't injured, we would still be playing him and we would still be getting indifferent results. And the fact that he persevered with Antonio for so long cost us all the points that meant we should really have been top 3 or 4. Now, it's a bit of a far-fetched sort of claim, but you can kind of see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But, you know, Moyes has been forced into this. He's not made a conscious decision to pull Antonio out and say, I'm going to change the way that we play. Because he's a stubborn bastard. And, you know, you think back to those games because Antonio started the season great, and then you could see the light had been switched off after about the fourth game, fifth game, and he stopped doing what he does. And everybody, it was blindingly obvious, you need to take him out. You need to do something different. And he didn't. And that cost us a load of points, and you look at where we have managed to get to in the table now, the difference that 5 or 6 points would make. So it's easy to look at the success, and it's easy to look at all the good things, but it's equally, you understand why people look at it from a different lens. And say, well, actually, no, it's in spite of him, not because of him, that we're actually where we are.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like, there's so many times there where he could have, he could have put Paqueta in the middle, drop Souček. Even if Antonio is playing as the 9, or you could put him on the right. I don't think he's got the legs to run up and down the wing like Bowen could, but I would have been happy to see it play out that way and just, have Kudus on the left, Bowen on the right, and then Antonio through the middle. But even that subtle change almost seemed beyond him a little bit, didn't it?
Absolutely. So there's a comment here around injuries and Moyes from Mark. Says, I have a theory around our lack of injuries this year being attributed to Moyes having his favourite players each week. If they miss a few games, they may lose their spot in the first team. It's been this way for the last couple of seasons. Waiting in the past, niggling injuries have cost us dearly with squad depth. What do you think of that? So from that, I'm reading he's talking about people playing with injuries just to keep the place in the team.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, that could have been some of the reason why Antonio's form dropped off, because he ended up going out. He ended up going out with this token hamstring injury anyway, didn't he? So
he did. It was only a matter of time, wasn't
it? Yeah. And interesting, I don't think Kudus is holding on to his spot by any stretch of the imagination, but apparently he was injured, but then we were complaining that he couldn't play against Brighton because, and then the Ghana team wanted him. So there's probably a little bit in that to a degree, but I mean, look, Areola was injured, and 2 or 3 games, and if you look at the performances Fabianski put in while Areola was injured, it was a big call to bring him back. And look, I think he's done well since he came back. So,
well, he obviously brought it, and look, I agree, he has. But Fabianski was fantastic in those games he came in. So Moyes has obviously brought him back because Areola is the league keeper, Fabianski is the cup keeper. Do you think that's healthy to have that predetermined? You're going to play these games, you're going to play them, or is there an argument that if someone's playing well, you sit out until something changes?
Yeah. Well, that's probably more so my mentality, because it can really mess with players' heads when you're just like, well, thanks for getting us 9 points. Back to the point for you, son.
I get it's probably a different scenario with goalkeepers, but you apply that same thinking to the starting 11. You can see the same sort of thinking. Souček didn't get dropped when he should have been dropped. There's other players that should have been left out of the team, and they haven't been because they are Moyes' first choice 13, if you like, and his 11's always going to come from them. Again, just highlights his stubbornness, I think.
Oh, it does, and most of them would obviously know, right? That you'd have to think if we can find ourselves a fucking decent left winger and a striker, Souček's time is just numbered. It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've said before, I really like the guy, and I'd love him to stay at the club and sit on the bench And come on, he'd be a great player to come on and play in League Cup games, FA Cup games, some European games, and bring him on last 10, 15 minutes to cause a bit of havoc. I don't know if that would be the role for him. He'd probably get first team football elsewhere. But you're right. The level that we're aspiring to probably doesn't have him starting in the team. Another comment from Andy: Alvarez screens the back four like number 41 used to, but he plays the ball forward and stays back, unlike Souček, who plays a higher line, and strictly speaking, that is the role that Moyes had for JWP.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that change significantly last year, where Moyes was the one. That Rice was the one that wanted to continually run forward. And you see it with Alvarez maybe once or twice in a game. And he has quite an impact. But he knows that's his role, is to screen, and that's what he does really, really well. And if you watch number 41, he actually had a stinker of a game, I thought, too, against us, which is beautiful to watch. His role at Arsenal is just that, so I'm not sure why he couldn't just do that for us and be happy. But, it shows now with Alvarez, like that Souček can get forward and JWP can get forward, but I just don't think with somebody of his quality, we don't really need to play the 2 6s that we do most of the time. We can play with Paqueta and JWP higher up the pitch. But Paqueta's smart enough that he can adjust, and so is JWP. I don't know if you noticed a couple of times in the Brighton game where Fornals is drifting in. JWP sees that and he's straight out to the left because he knows that's where we need the width should the ball come out there. Like he's intelligent enough to do that. So I think between the two of them, they could play higher and adjust when they needed to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you even look at Kudus and probably to a lesser extent Bowen. They're not afraid to track back.
No.
So that there's no massive gap between our midfield and our forwards. I think Alvarez, if Alvarez isn't there, you've probably got a question that needs to be answered. But while he is there, agree, you probably don't need them both.
No.
Rani Bubble, agree totally with your analysis. I think he was talking about my little analysis earlier on. Lloyd's always hard to watch, but has delivered the kind of success we've been craving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You get the solution in your hand, but you want to get it off there pretty fucking quick.
That's very clever. A double entendre, I think that's called.
Just playing off each other well. Thank you. Here we go.
Yeah, you can go.
I'll just call him Nick Tuk Tuk. It's not flaming galahs, it's fucking galahs. Have you heard the saying, whinging poms? Nick from Claren Booze is the original whinging pom. I hear flames thrown around there.
I hear the saying whinging poms about 10 times a day, generally from people at work. It's a particular favourite of the Aussies. And it's completely wrong because I think they probably whinge just as much. To be fair, we do like a whinge.
Wouldn't be a day without one, would it, mate?
What have we got here? Do you not reckon a coach with better people skills could get more out of the players we already have, or that Steidman will source for us? Yes, I do. Do. Although, to be fair, I think a lot of his success is probably down to him having good people skills and getting the best out of players that perhaps aren't at the level that we've got at the moment. So that is probably I would say one of his strengths, but it's still limited. It only goes so far. You need a different type because he's very old school, isn't he? He's not he's not a new Premier League manager. His philosophy and his ideals are 30 years old. So, it's probably worked for him in the past, but yeah, somebody else, somebody younger, more innovative, fresher ideas would, in my opinion, get more out of the players we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I think where he struggles is like, when he finds players and they do magical things, he can support them quite well. But when he gets somebody like a Ben Rama, who needs a cuddle and then needs to be told that, look, mate, you're not going to play every week. You're my 20-minute player. But in that 20 minutes, you need to give me everything. And look, maybe when there's an opportunity there, like go and change my mind, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then when he has gone and had like good 60, 70 minutes on the pitch, the next, like he finds himself being substituted or, he's not in the squad for the next week. Like that's a different skill to managing, the guys who do it for you week in, week out and walk-up selections.
The next comment here from Rani is following on from that. It says, funny how Moyes is painted as a poor man manager. And yet he's being portrayed as the man to put an arm around Sancho. Look, as I just said, I don't think he is a poor man manager for certain situations and certain individuals. I think, and the Sancho thing, it's a direct comparison with the Lingard situation, isn't it?
That's what was in my mind too.
People will look back and think back to Lingard and think, well, if he's done it there, he can do it again. I don't know. I don't know whether it would be a good move. I'd take Sancho. I think he's a decent player. I don't think we'd risk anything in taking him. I'm assuming it would be a loan move.
I think he's pretty much certain to go back to Dortmund. Yeah. I was reading some stuff this morning on it. So, but look, I guess in terms of the analogy, I think it'd be a great free hit for us. So,
yeah. You want to read that comment from Kingy? I think that's a nice answer.
Rani Bubble, anything to do with Man United, he seems to always want to put two fingers up them. So, and say, look at what I can do with one of your players not performing. So, yeah, I tend to agree with that. I suppose if you look at old Slabhead and what was the other one we were looking at?
McTominay.
McTominay, yeah. I tend to agree with that comment. It's a fair analysis, actually. So,
and to be fair, I think McTominay is probably one of the few that's actually had a good season for them as well.
He's getting some opportunities, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's like a slightly better Scottish Thomas Souček, though, isn't he? In my opinion.
Just swap that fucking potato salad for haggis.
A bit of square sausage.
Too true.
Some clarification there for those of you wondering what we're talking about. Poms is prisoners of Mother England. It's, I suppose, a derogatory term for English or Brits, but I think there's a bit more affection involved now.
That's right. Yeah, you just got to add bastard to the end of it.
Yeah. Pommy bastard.
Whinging Pommy bastard.
Sancho is a great player, but not sure about his attitude and application. Would love to be proved wrong with him on fire in a West Ham shirt, though. I think we all would. But I don't know whether it's even a starter or it's just a non-starter to begin with. But very true. And then what's this one? Agree. No risk, no reward. And everyone said the same about Lingard's attitude.
Yeah.
And then this last comment, which I'll let you read, Nate.
Can't believe that I agreed with him and he went there. You feel cheated. Oh fuck! You know you wanted to bite my fucking head off earlier on today when I asked you about a thumbnail.
Oh yeah. Oh, we've got a couple of players going to the AFCON.
We do, yeah.
There's some transfer rumours. I read today, I don't know how much truth is in it, but I read that Wolves are possibly interested in Danny Ings and possibly Ben Rama. There's Kara's gone.
Apparently. Yeah, I think that's pretty much done and dusted. Off to Monaco for it's a 500k fee. With an option to buy as well. And that's all. Like, I think they have to buy him if it's probably linked to a certain amount of games and things like that. That's the only one I've heard that's relatively close at the moment to leaving. It doesn't really give us much cash to spend, but I guess it depends on how that sort of that financial fair play is probably taken over. A period of time, not just a transfer, not just one transfer market. So And there's a guy named Guriassi, I think is how you say it, from Stuttgart, who we're looking at as well. And he's a striker, and I think he's banged in around 17 goals already this season. So, and it's only got a $15 million buyout clause. So, that'd be a really good pickup for us, I think. So, but he's at AFCON as well. I think that's probably one of the only stumbling blocks. He's with Guinea or something like that. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce it, but I don't think they're muted to do very well. So hopefully they get out in the round robin stages, and being completely and utterly selfish, I hope that Ghana do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I hope there's they get found out for taking drugs and get disqualified and sent home next week. And our prodigal son is just innocent, or he's got some fucking really good urine samples there to say I wasn't part of it. Ronnie Bubble wants to know. He says, "I'll start the car. Where am I taking Ings and Benny? Take him down to Molyneux, and if come back with a couple of cheeseburgers or something, I think that'll probably be a fair trade."
Look, he can bring back Dawson. I'd be happy with that. Yeah, that'd be a good swap deal. You have these two, and we'll take Dawson.
I think I was thinking about who else you'd want to see go, because when we're talking about players going, it's only it's to free up wages, it's to free up space and bring in better players. You look. If Benny went tomorrow, I'd wish him all the best. I'd remember everything he's done for us, the goal in the cup final, and so it's nothing personal for most of them. But I think Ings and Ben Rama, you could Ings definitely. That's a no-brainer. Get rid of him. I'd say the same about Cornet as well. I'd probably be more inclined to keep Benny than Cornet, but only because we've seen what he can do. And then there's probably still a couple more that we need to that we need to clear because we're not going to bring anyone significant in. I don't think.
No.
We should. If we had ambition, we'd go out and buy a goal scorer. And that's not going to happen. We're going to rely on Antonio coming back as cover. If we had an actual proper goal scorer with Bowen, with Kudus, with Paqueta, it would elevate us to a whole different level.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'd like to see a striker, but I'd almost prefer to see a left-sided winger come in there, because I think that between Bowen and Kudus, they can rotate quite well through that right and central side. And as you said, Antonio's good backup for those two, in my opinion. But if we get that left-sided player, it changes our dynamic so much. Like, all of a sudden, we've got two really quick outlets on the left and the right. It would be brilliant. And if I had to choose between the two, I'd take the left-sided winger over the striker.
So King said January's always a weird time for transfers. We always sell for small fees, but we always seem to pay inflation January rates.
Yeah.
Rani Bubble said, "Did you see the financial statement? Doesn't look like we have much to invest and must sell to buy." And look, I think realistically, none of us are expecting any decent signings to come in.
No.
I actually think if we get rid of a couple, I don't know whether we need to look at getting another centre half in. Dinos doesn't fill me with confidence. Agad, there's been talk of Agad going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you're right.
If that happens, I think absolutely we need to get another centre half in. Zuma's steady. Ogbonna's not going to play like he did the other day. Every game.
Not week in, week out. No.
No, not at all. And Dinos doesn't do it for me. And we've sold Kara now as well. So Dawson back from Wolves wouldn't be a bad shout.
Couldn't be. Might not be a bad deal for everyone. So.
No. So Andrew Quinn says taking Ings to Deptford and leaving with Millwall. Give Benrahma a bus pass, make him pay his own travel. So there's a lot of lovely things in Benny. Ryan said Benny would fit right in if you left him on a roundabout. He just goes round in circles. Oh man.
Very true. Yeah.
Rani says, "I'm with you. Yeah. Dino is improving, but still worries me a little." Yeah. And I think the problem I have with that is he's not 21. He's not 20. He's been around. He shouldn't be. We shouldn't be having to allow him time and mistakes to the level that we're getting for him to be decent. He should be good enough to hold his own. And it worries me a little bit that when he's in the team, that there's a goal that we're going to give away.
But I actually I'd like to know what your thoughts are. I think he's been better with Ogbonna on his left than pairing with Agad. They've both been very, very serviceable.
Yeah, and those that's probably fair. The Arsenal game, I thought he was good. Obviously, he scored the goal, but he looked better. It's hard to tell in it because if you make a couple of mistakes like he did as a defender, it does rock your confidence for a handful of games.
Yeah.
So I'm not writing him off by any means, but I think if a guy was to go, I'd certainly be looking for someone else to come in and offer a bit of cover.
Yeah. I think this is why Rani Bubble doesn't like him. He fucking hates his lamppost. He impressed with his hands behind his back all the time. It can be difficult to watch. So
the question for you, Nath. How much do you know about Bristol City? Because I noticed in the socials you called them Bristol Rovers. So I'm assuming you don't know much about either of them.
I was just abbreviating them, mate, a little bit. So, look, obviously, I don't know that much about them. I did a little bit of research, though. Like, funny enough, Moisey's never lost to them, and we're at home, so that gives me a little bit of confidence. They're coached by a guy named Liam Manning now, who coached our 23s from 2015 to 2019 for about 4 years.
Right.
And apparently spent a fair bit of time with number 41. So, but he's only been there for about 11 games. Came in November. It'd be an interesting game, I think, because looked at a couple of their highlights before this, and they do like to press really high up the pitch and try and dominate the ball. So, depending on who we play, there will be some space to run in behind there. So,
And I think that's probably what Kingy's asking here. What do we do for the Bristol City game? I'm assuming he means in terms of the lineup and personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the team that we had out against Brighton. I don't know if it'd be too much dissimilar to that, to be honest.
No.
I think
maybe Sue had a rest or Alvarez will get a rest or something like that. So. Yeah. They're no mugs. They're sitting mid-table in the championship, and some of the highlights I watch, they can play with a fair bit of confidence. So I wouldn't like to see 5 or 6 changes and it's just throw it away. And but at the same time, I think give Paqueta another week off that he probably needs. Give Sefal another week off to recover. Is it Orford? Lewis Orford, who's our back. I'd love to give Emerson a break and put him on the left, Johnson on the right. Centre halves. I don't know if we've got much choice there. Zuma could still be pretty broken as well. So and I don't know where Antonio is at the moment either. Whether he's even fit enough to take the bench.
Yeah, I've not heard that he's back in contention.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting comment here from Kingy, which he's saying if we play a full strength against Bristol and then chuck it against City or Liverpool or whoever in the next round, we'd rather just go with the weaker team now and get it out of the way. And I think that's really important. I think. We need to make a call, or Moyes needs to make a call, whether he's gonna chuck the FA Cup at some point. Because if he is, he might as well do it now. And if he's not, then we go for it.
We don't need the extra games if we're being honest, but love a cup run as well. But I know exactly what Kingy's saying there, and the last thing you want to do is it's that false hope sort of thing, isn't it? We're doing so well, and then it'll just be snatched away from us right at the end.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a tough game. Bristol City they're a reasonable sized club. They've got decent support. They're obviously they're not shit. I think you said the mid-table in the championship. I had a look at the results over the last month. They've won. They've won quite a few games. The last game they lost was against the Vikings.
I did see that. Yeah. They knocked off Watford 4-1, was it?
Yeah. So they've had some up and down results, haven't they?
Yeah. So I don't think they're going to be afraid. They'll have a decent crack, I reckon. So.
Not at all. Andrew Quinn said it's Bristol City in the FA Cup, the Gas as they are known down there. Didn't know that. Last played in 2015 when we scored late. Diafra Sacco. Same again. They have won the last 3 in the championship. So and Rani Bubble says they're bringing 9,000 with them. They'll make a good noise down there. You never want to be embarrassed or lose a game.
No.
And as much as you'd say, all right, if we go out of the FA Cup early and we have a good crack at the Europa League and finish top 6, you take it. You still don't want to be losing at home to Bristol City, do you?
No. No, we shouldn't. We should have the talent to knock them off. But I'm just not a fan of half a team in, half a team out. It just makes for a very, very difficult game, and then you end up bringing your fucking best players on,
to try
early in the second half to try and save it.
Yeah. Message from Budgie. Thanks for joining, Budgie. Good to see you. Greetings, Earthlings. Hope you're all well.
Hi, Budgie.
Me and Nathan well. Kingy's not great, and I don't think Dave's great either. But
no. Hopefully he's hooking into the whiskies, mate.
Yeah.
Enjoying a ride
home. Kingy said he can't have another Liverpool quarterfinal meltdown. No, that was horrendous. We don't want that at all. Rani Bubbles says, yeah, for sure, Liverpool was infuriating. Might as well have played the kids at Lincoln than do what he did in that cup. Yeah, I agree. You know, the FA Cup is a little bit different. You know, if you get through the first couple of games, once you start getting to quarter-final territory, it gets interesting and exciting. So we'll see. Budgie reckons Antonio should be fit for Sunday. A number of sources claim. So, fine, if he is fit, he'd probably get some game time, wouldn't he? Whether he starts or not.
Yeah.
And then Kingy and Budgie are having a chat. Don't mind us, lads. Just carry on.
It's all right. Carry on. Yeah.
And then Ben H. Thanks for the comment, Ben. According to Transfer Market, the whole Bristol City squad is worth 37.7 million.
It says it all, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But I mean, it means nothing, does it? Once you get on the pitch, 11v11, absolutely anything can happen. Yeah,
that's right. And if they put their full strength out, which you'd imagine they would, right? But they just know how to play with each other. So I think that's the part that concerns me the most is, you know, and like if they want to possess the ball and we're trying to play a fucking low block, anything could happen if we don't get that right.
Absolutely. So look, we're coming up to an hour, so we'll probably wrap it up shortly. What I know it's difficult, Nate, but what about your predictions for Sunday? Is it Sunday, isn't it?
I was just thinking that in my own head. I'm not 100% sure. I probably would be. Oh, sorry, I was just reading something that Kingy's put up there. Mate, I think it's, for me, I think we should win this like 3-1.
Yeah. Look, I think we'll win. I think we should win. I think we will. Whether it'll be free-flowing, spectacular football remains to be seen. But you know, we win this, and if we do win, I can't remember exactly who we've got, but we've got a couple of winnable games coming up in the league.
Yeah, we do. Well. Sheffield and I think we get a week off, and then we've got Sheffield and then Brentford, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
And then we've got Man U and Arsenal, something like that.
So, you know, we're looking good. There's lots to be excited about. Look, just before we wrap up, Kingy's just put a comment in here, which I was aware of through some mates of mine that let me know as well. There was a guy called Ian Cowan, lifelong West Ham fan. He was over in Perth during the summer. Really, really lovely guy, and he passed away this week after a short illness. So everyone here at Fortune Tiding Down undersends condolences and thoughts to Ian's family and friends and those that knew him. And for those of you that met him in Perth, you know, I'm sure you'd pass on your best regards as well. So,
well said,
look,
well said.
Yeah, thank you. So look, we'll leave it. We'll leave it there. Thank you to everybody for joining us and all the comments and questions and banter and everything. It's been really good as usual. We will hopefully be talking about another win on Monday. We'll be back in the pub doing our first pub show in a couple of weeks. Not because we've not wanted to go to the pub, but because Christmas and New Year and other shit like that have got in the way with it. So who knows? We might even have all four of us there. We probably won't, but we'll do that.
Well, hopefully that room still smells like victory, mate, because I think it's still set up for our Man U party. So
yeah, probably is. Is. There's probably still a few lads still in there celebrating.
Wrapped up in their new flags.
Yeah. Nate, thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Great to see you again, matey.
We'll see you all soon. One thing left to say, lads.
Come on, you guys.